Hello friends, and welcome back to Swift Lessons. Today's video is all about making your warm-up sessions more fun and motivational. Now to do this, we're going to stray away from typical exercises like scales, and instead I'm going to show you 3 classic rock riffs of the 1950s that will also serve as excellent warm-ups. Now these riffs have been chosen for their iconic status, their ease of play, and also their practice benefits. I got a full tab for you, as always, at patreon.com/swiftlessons, and you can become a member there to gain access to a ton of extra resources for all my popular YouTube guitar lessons. Now, let's get started. Okay, getting started with practice riff number 1. This is Ritchie Valens' La Bamba in the key of C. Now this intro riff from 1958 really shows how basic chords can be implied with a catchy melody. I'm going to demonstrate it first, then I'll break it down. A 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, let's break that down measure by measure. Okay, so that melody implied a 1-4-5 progression in the key of C. So that would be C major, F major, and also G major. Now it began on the 5 chord and then went to the 1 chord C and then kind of kicked off the progression. So it begins with a walk up from the G chord to the C chord. Okay, very, very common. So that's the 3rd fret of the low E string, open A, 2nd fret, and then as the next measure comes in and the progression starts, we're going to the C note on the 3rd fret of the A string. So, G, A, B, C. Now make sure you can count that too. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, now we're really jumping into the melody. We're on the first beat of the next measure, and in this measure we're going to play. Okay, so the A string 3, D string 2, G string open, and then as the F chord comes in, 3rd fret of the D string, and then 2nd fret of the G string, followed by the open string. Just like that. You put those 2 measures together and we have. Okay, and right there on that open G string, that's where the G chord is coming in, almost a half beat early. Okay, then, in the next measure, we're going to play. Alright, so that was 3rd fret of the low E string, a G note, 2nd fret A, open D, and then 3, 3, 2, 0. Okay, then that will get you back to C. Alright, so that begins right after the first beat on the end between beats 1 and 2. And 2, and 3, and 4, and... Okay, now we're halfway done this iconic riff. You put all that together and it sounds like this. Now make sure you can count that. A 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and... Alright, now, the rest of it is going to be very simple, just chords. And then a stop on the G chord. So strum the C chord on beat number 1, then we're going to play 2nd fret of the D string and the open G string right inside the chord. Take the middle finger off. Alright, then switch to an F major chord. Down, up on the open strings, and then stop short on the G major chord. One more time. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. La 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 Bamba. Then you're ready to start the song. Okay, very good everybody. We've practiced that measure by measure. Now let's play the whole thing at a medium tempo for you to practice along with. A 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Just like that. Okay, tremendous work everybody. You've mastered one of early rock and roll's most iconic riffs, and now we're jumping into riff number 2, Eddie Cochran's Summertime Blues in the key of E. This one was recorded in March of 1958 and is a great example of how a basic progression can be embellished with muted percussive strums. Now be sure to practice this riff slowly, tapping your foot and also counting. Getting started with a full demonstration at a medium tempo. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that began sliding up to the 2nd fret of the D string. That's an E note, and originally this part is played on the bass, but if we're gonna play it on the guitar, it'll look like this. Okay, so it was sliding from 1 to 2, and then playing down up on that same note. We're gonna repeat that 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then, jumping into measure number 3, we're going to play. Okay, so I slid again, created an entire E chord shape and played up, down, up, and then played a short strum staccato on an A major chord, covered up the strings and played up, down, up. Okay, you put that measure together and it sounds like this, really slow. Okay, notice how I'm covering up all the strings when I'm performing those muted strums. So far we have 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Okay, then that'll get us to measure number 4, where we'll be changing between B major, a bar chord shape, and also the 1 chord, E major. Now, for those of you not familiar, that B major bar chord, you're gonna grab the 2nd fret of the A string, the B note root, and then we're also going to be barring across the D string, G string, and the B string on the 4th frets. The high E string in this shape will be muted, okay, even when you're pressing, which may take a little bit of practice. So this measure really slow will sound like this. One more time. Okay, so a dead stroke on the B chord, and then up, down, up as you squeeze. Then go to the E major chord nice and short, cover up all the strings, and play up, down, up on muted strings. Okay, you put that together and we have. Doing everything I can to cover up those strings, making sure they're muted. Now you can also leave the B chord just a little bit early. Hit some open strings if you need a little bit more time to get to the E chord shape. Okay, that completes all of line number 1 if you're following along using that tablature at patreon.com/swifflessons. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what's left will be a repeat of what you've already played. Getting started with the E major chord, it will sound like this. Okay, so we grab the E major chord. This time we're not going to slide in the beginning of this measure. We're going to hit a dead stroke, then we're going to play up, down, up, a short stroke on the A major, followed by up, down, up, muted. Okay, that's that first measure there on line number 2 of this riff. So, okay, then we're just going to repeat what we played before, going from B major to E major. Just like that. Okay, putting all of Eddie Cochran's intro to Summertime Blues together, it's gonna sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 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 4, and. Okay, very good everyone. Now we're jumping into our 3rd and final iconic riff of the 1950s. This one is the Everly Brothers' Bye Bye Love in the key of A. Now this one comes from March of 1957 and was the world's introduction to the Everly Brothers. It's a fantastic example again of how basic progressions can be made more memorable with the right rhythm and percussive techniques. It's gonna sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's break that down. Okay, getting started with measure number 1 of this riff, we have an A chord, but we're gonna do it with a bar. So my index finger is barring across the D string, G string, and B string on the 2nd fret. I have the open A string as well, and the high E string muted. So I hit that with a downstroke, Then on beat number 2, I'm gonna play down up on muted strings. 1, 2, and. Alright, then I'm gonna play. Alright, so that was C, D with that same bar chord shape that we were using earlier. So 3rd fret of the A string, and then barring across the D, G, and B once again with the ring finger on the 5th frets. Alright, then just take that up a whole step and do another downstroke. So far you have. Okay, then as he's switching to another position of the A chord for the next measure, it's kind of optional, but if you're going to do an upstroke, you can get a little bit of the open A string. Okay, it's very, very subtle. Okay, just like that, and that's with an upstroke with the pick. Okay, next we're going to create an A major triad with an F chord shape here with the ring finger on the 7th fret of the D string. Okay, so 7, 6, 5, 5. Okay, and those last 2 strings with the bar. We're gonna play here. Okay, so that's pretty simple. We're just doing muted strums, but on beats 2 and 4, we're gonna hit live strums, making sure to squeeze the strings, but still block the low E string and the A string, and I'm doing that with my thumb. Okay, then we have measures 3 and 4. It's gonna sound like this, measure 3. Okay, one more time. Okay, so that began with that A chord, barring the 9th fret of the D, G, B, and high E strings with the index finger. Also grabbing the 10th fret of the B string and the 11th fret of the D string. A partial of that A major chord. Alright, I'm gonna do a dead stroke, and then an up, down, and slide away on that downstroke. At that point, as I'm sliding away, I can also do an upstroke and hit a little bit of that open A string again as I did before, but that's very optional. Okay, just like that. Then go to that C bar chord, the D bar chord, and then do another kind of ghost note on that open A string. Okay, you put all that together and we have real slow. A 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Okay, then we're just going to repeat that rhythm over the A triad here with the F position. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and to finish up. Okay, putting together this entire riff now. Being sure to tap your foot and count along. A 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Alright friends, thanks so much for checking out this lesson on 3 legendary rock riffs of the 1950s. I hope you enjoyed it. Real quick, the question of the day. What are your favorite 50s songs? I'm always looking for more recommendations. Big thanks to my supporters at patreon.com/swiftlessons. Hope you're enjoying those extra resources. And thanks to you guys, I've got many more lessons coming up. So keep checking back. Please subscribe, please share. This is Rob at Swift Guitar Lessons in Philadelphia saying happy picking.